Hi guys, happy Friday. I just wanted to tell you that I just tried the new fragrance from Kayali. It's called Vanille Royale Sugared Patchouli 64, and it's an EDP Intense. And so what I've heard is that the founder or the owner or whatever has listened to, their customers, and many think that their fragrances are good, but they don't last long enough. So this is supposed to be like the fragrance with the super good longevity. It's kind of like a heightened version of Vanilla 28 that is super popular, and which I find kind of boring. It's kind of a linear fragrance. It's a nice vanilla, but to me, it doesn't inspire me. Anyway, this hype around this new fragrance, because I think this is typically what the perfume houses do. They have to continuously launch new fragrances so that their house attracts more, more attention. And this is what I did. I went to my local department store, but just because I heard that they were launching a new fragrance and they didn't have it yet. That was like 2 days ago. But then I tried like all the Kayali fragrances. So I realized, how important it is to have something new. And it's not necessarily that they'll sell this new fragrance, but at least it gets us in there and starts to check out the whole house, which I find an interesting kind of phenomenon, because even if the fragrances, the older fragrances are good, it's still kind of this new thing that is like the attraction. So the other day I tried on Sweet Diamond Pink Pepper, and I tried on their amber fragrance. It's called Invite Only Amber, and I really didn't like any of them. I thought they were some notes in there had been overdosed, and I thought they were too sweet and kind of not the right kind of way. There was no milkiness in there. It was just kind of like sugar sweet. And today, actually, when I walked in, they had the new fragrance, the Vanille Royale Sugared Patchouli fragrance, and I have it now on both hands, and I put one spray here, so I'm wearing like 5 sprays. And a little bit I might be able to compare it to Rosendo Mateu number 7, but that one, Rosendo Mateu number 7, is so much better. But this one, compared to like their other fragrances, is more oriental, and it is absolutely the best one I've tried from Kayali so far. Maybe that burning cherry might be interesting if you like cherry, but I haven't really given that a proper wearing. But this one, I mean, I would never buy this. This is just, it feels a little bit too, I mean, it's a gourmand and it's super boozy. I think it has like rum in there too. And it's definitely sugared patchouli. I think the name really describes the fragrance super well. I don't know, there's something about this that would make me not buy it. I think maybe they've overdosed a little on the sugar. It's kind of like a brown kind of sugar feeling. No, I'm not, this is not going to be a purchase for me. But okay, so this is what they do also. They call it a limited edition. This is a limited edition. So like they say they're going to take it away, and then everyone has to like, I know several of my friends have like here in Sweden that have like blind bought it just because, otherwise they might not get a bottle. And I just think that's kind of like this is what they sometimes do just to like get us to, oh, excuse me, my phone fell over, to get us to buy faster. But everybody knows that perfume needs to be properly tried out, right? So I think it's kind of it's a thing that they do. And just beware of this. If there's a new launch, it doesn't mean that we have to go and buy right then. And this limited edition talk, the other day I noticed that the limited edition from Jo Malone called Starlet Mandarin and Honey, that was supposed to be a summer fragrance for 2022. It was still on the counter the other day when I was in the shops, and it's Christmas, so I don't know. I mean, if you want to get a hold of something, I think it's possible. And these fragrances, I thought that Starlet and Mandarin was great in the summer, but now in the winter, it's nothing special. So, I mean, it's important to try fragrances many times in order to know. And I tried... okay, where to start? I was going to share with you a few things here. A few similar fragrances to each other. I just recently picked up a travel size Jazz Club from Maison Margiela Replica. And I've always thought this fragrance was a little bit too masculine for me. I used to have a little decant and I think I got rid of it. And then I thought I need to give it another chance because it's a little bit sweet, and I've started to like sweet fragrances. And also, like, my taste has changed in so many other ways. So I don't really like the opening that much. I think it's a little bit too much tobacco. And when I'm going to just give myself a little tiny squirt just to remember. It's a lot about the tobacco in the beginning. And also that booziness. I don't know if it's rum or if it's whiskey or I can't remember. But the interesting thing is that when it dries down, I just saw that many people on Fragrantica had said that it is similar to Santal Complet from Fragranze de Bois, which I already have. And I thought, no, it's not at all similar. But in the dry down, like in the long dry down of this, and this lasts longer. This has a better longevity than Santal Complet. It is actually very similar because something coconutty-ish, like milky and nutty, comes out. I don't know what it is, and maybe it also has some lemon in the top. It might have black pepper. It might have, I'm trying to think what else they have in common, but there's no sandalwood listed in this. But I'll have to say, in the long dry down, they are very similar. And this is, of course, much, much cheaper. I'm sure you're familiar with the price of this. I don't know the exact price, but this is really pricey. This is like $300 for 100. So check it out and wait for the dry down because fragrances can really change. And another fragrance that has a beautiful dry down, I got a sample. I used it up already. It comes in these little tiny bottles if you're interested in small bottles. I love that about this Matière Première from France, is that they come in these 6 milliliter bottles. I tried Neroli Oranger, which is a neroli fragrance with like, I think it has like ylang ylang and honey maybe, because I didn't like it at first. Like when you first spray it on, it smells a lot like cleaning liquid, like something that you would clean the house with, or like it's soapy. And then like the long dry down, I'm talking like 30 to 45 minutes. That's when it turns really, really beautiful. So if you can handle that first like blast of soapy neroli, kind of detergent style neroli, that I recommend that fragrance from the same house as this Santal style I have. It's a pretty good fragrance. I don't think I'll be getting it. I don't want to wait that long for something beautiful. I have other beautiful fragrances. Okay, so another, a little bit of an epiphany was that this one, it's called Opus 1144 from Filippo Sorcinelli. I kind of thought this was a heavy amber, like a resinous amber, kind of like Amber Sultan from Serge Lutens or something like that. But I have found that this is much more easier to wear. It's kind of heliotrope-y, actually, kind of like Soavissima from Profumum Roma or Rêve de Cashmere that I have a little decant of from Van Cleef and Arpels. This is the more exclusive Van Cleefs that are really hard to find. They have them at the Dubai airport, probably in some other places as well. The bottles are a little bit bigger, like 125 milliliters, and they're like $300, very expensive. But this is a beautiful fragrance, this Rêve de Cashmere. But I realized that this Opus, it smells like a Profumum Roma fragrance. Very much like Soavissima, actually. This is a little bit more floral, perhaps, and that other one has more vanilla. But the Opus 1144 is in kind of that same ballpark. And I didn't realize it. I thought it was like a much heavier amber. So I'm happy to find it in my collection. Since I used up Sumo Wrestler from Jace Scent, I'm kind of been looking for a good heliotrope. And I think these all have that kind of vibe. Heliotrope is a flower that has kind of a natural, I think they use it to create the note of almond. So I'm not sure if it's like natural heliotrope or if it's something, yeah, I think it is. It's like a purple flower. What else was I going to share? Oh, and then I tried, yesterday I wore Ceylon from Xerjoff. Last time I wore it, I just loved it so much. I thought it was fantastic. It's like an oud and honey and super powdery fragrance. But this time when I wore it, I didn't like it as much. And I thought it was like kind of fecal to start with. It's a real barnyardy kind of oud. And then it kind of fizzles down a little bit. And then, but still you're left with that kind of urine kind of, a lot of people on Fragrantica were calling it ammonia, that it smells like ammonia. And I'll have to say it kind of does. But it's also, I don't know. And what I noticed about this, that they sell samples of this where the price per milliliter is actually cheaper, a lot cheaper, like half from if you buy a full bottle of this, it's like $500, even close to $600, which is like so expensive. Like I would never buy that. Sorry, I'm sitting in a really uncomfortable position, so I have to move a little bit. So yeah, if you're interested like in a really expensive fragrance, it could be an idea at least to check out the price of samples. They might actually be cheaper than you think. I will be getting a sample of that for sure. Another one when I run out of this. Okay, so I tried another few fragrances too that I want to warn you a little bit about. And one of them is called, I'm just going to stand up. Okay, this is, okay, so one of these, this is like a subscription service. So if you're in Sweden or you're in the UK, you can actually order from them. They're called Sniff. It's spelled S-N-I-P-H. And they sell their like luxurious niche fragrances in the 8 milliliter vials. And I just tried a fragrance called Assolo. It sounds a little bit like asshole, someone wrote. And I know I can't stop thinking about that every time I say it, but now you can remember it, Assolo. And it means solo in Italian. And it comes from a house called Cale, Fragranze d'Autore, I think. Here it just says Kaya. So yeah. And this one features a note of, a very dominant note of apple, like Granny Smith apple. And also has like some woods. It has Artemisia, which is a little bit bitterish. It's, I don't know if you're familiar with when you store apples, like over the winter. We used to do this at the farm that my parents used to own. And you put the apples out on like on newspapers. And then they, with time, they would kind of develop like an oily kind of, an oiliness, like an oily film on the skin. And then you would smell kind of a strong apple smell. That's what this smells like. So if any of you are nostalgic about apple picking or something, maybe this is a fragrance for you. I think it's boring, and I can't see how anyone would want to smell like this. It doesn't smell bad. It just smells like not a perfume that I would want to put on anyway. And so the second fragrance that I recently picked up, I got these both secondhand, so I didn't pay that much for them, is called Thé Darbouka, and it's from L'Orchestre Parfum. And I really love Piano Santal from that house. If you haven't tried it, that's one of the best sandalwood fragrances. I have just a vial like this, but I could definitely go full bottle of that. I've been through half of my 8 milliliter already, although I have so many fragrances. It is just beautiful. And I also have Electro Limonade, and I think that's beautiful as well. And they have some other good ones. I think like the incense one is good, but this one has like styrax and oud in the base, and it's combined like with Immortel, which is a really strange kind of hay-like sweet fragrance. Many say that it reminds of maple syrup, but the combination here is a little odd, and it's kind of like it has some spices. I made some notes here just to remember. Yeah, it has bergamot in the top, fig, tea, cacao. Okay, so and someone wrote this on Fragrantic. I thought that was kind of funny. Weird mix of notes, but it works. And I directly thought, weird mix of notes, but it doesn't work. This is just my opinion. Someone else said, perfect for a blustery autumn day. If you're into Immortel, maybe. If you like incense, I find it quite incensey, this fragrance. And someone also wrote a spiced, hay-like, slightly leathery aura, that it has that. And another person said dried fruit vibe. Anyway, and I don't like dried fruit in fragrance that much. So I'm just going to try to, swap this with someone. It's not bad. I just don't love it. I'm just going to spray it right now just to kind of remind myself. Because the other one, the Assolo, I would not even spray on. That's how bad I thought it was. I mean, that's how I don't want it on my skin again. The opening's not good at all. But it does get better. It does get better. And it does kind of quiet down. It softens a little bit. It's really sharp in the opening. Maybe this could grow on me perhaps, but like right now, it's just not interesting to me at all. Okay, and just to summarize this little video, I'd also like to share with you what I've gotten rid of lately. I've actually sold 3 Chanel fragrances, and I used to have 5 of the exclusives, and now I have only 2 left. And the ones I have are Le Lion and Jersey. And the Jersey is the EDT version. It's a very creamy lavender fragrance. And Le Lion is a really beautiful amber with like a shippy quality to it. It has like birch tar, and it's just really, really beautiful. And I decided that Coromandel is just not as interesting to me as Le Lion, and I'll always choose Le Lion over it. Although I still like that one, I decided that it's just collecting dust. And then I got rid of Bois, which is like a kind of a feminine fougere, like a kind of like a fresh barbershop-y kind of fragrance. I like it, but I found myself never picking it up. And the last one I got rid of was actually, I can't believe I'm saying this now, but 1957, because I never wore it. It's a beautiful, sophisticated scent, but I found it a little bit too aldehydic, and I also found that I liked my Chanel number 19 Poudré better. So I was always choosing it over 1957, and 1957 just standing there, and I paid full retail price for that. So this is just, I want to tell you, I want to share this with you because I want you to think before you buy. Number one, especially if you buy for full retail price, because then you really have to think, do I have anything in my collection that is very similar to this? Because you're going to end up having one bottle too many. And it costs money, you know, to have all that bound capital. So think before you buy. And Black Friday is coming up, so I just thought it would be good to share that my taste has changed for a lot of fragrances. This Ceylon is not quite as wonderful as I thought it was. What else did I try that I didn't find quite as wonderful? There was something more. Maybe I already shared that. Oh yeah, there was something in the video before this one that I wore on vacation. It was Mandarin by Serge Lutens. And then someone wrote, I think in Swedish among the comments, that Serge Lutens fragrances actually do change. Like that they're not like over the years. If you keep them in your closet for a few years, they actually change. And I'm not sure that if that's the case or not. I would have to go back and I don't know how to do that. So I just noticed that other notes kind of popped out, like a more bitterish note than I thought from the beginning. I thought it was a more fresh fragrance. And now I found that it was a much more spicy fragrance, and it has that bitter kind of orange peel feeling to it. So since I guess, I don't know how it is for you, but my taste is constantly evolving. So I really try to avoid 100 ml bottles and big bottles in general because, you know, it's just not worth it because all of a sudden I don't find it that exciting anymore. All right, I'll just wish you all a nice weekend, and please let me know what kind of videos you'd like to hear. Would you like more, or would like to see more of? Would you like me to do note videos or videos on a particular house, or maybe perfumer videos, like perfumes that were all created by Dominique Ropion, Cécile Sorokian, for example? I was thinking about maybe doing something like that. I don't know what would interest you. Well, that's all for now. Bye.